Good morning. My name is Mary, and this is the second week of Physio Pilates we're doing with the BK group. Thank you for joining me. If you were here last week, I hope you got out of the class what you needed. And just be reassured, I'll continue most classes, all classes, to remind you of the little safety measures we should be taking as we move, as well as I'll be giving cues to where you might want to be feeling it, what you might want to concentrate on. So if you're new to the class, what you can use is a towel or a little pillow for under your head for later. And also, I'll just mention next what I'm going to introduce in the class, if you put out one, is a little ball. So this is a Pilates ball. This is a dollar store version, which costs $1.50. And if you don't want to go in the store, maybe you could rummage around the kids section of your house and see if you've got one. It's not anything intricate we're going to do with it, so you can probably also use an alternate something around. Next week, see if you can find a ball, and I'll just introduce you to how to use those to improve the workout. All right, this morning, let's start with standing feet hip width apart. So when we say hip width, we mean you would locate your hip bones and your legs would kind of fall down from there. So it's not wider like this, it's just a natural alignment through the hip joint. So let's just start by dropping one knee and the other very easily, very slowly. Almost all of the moves we're going to do during this class are very, very slow so that we give the time to the body to adjust to it, to feel it, and for the muscles to usually work a little harder. This one is a relaxation move. We're trying to maybe put your hands on your hips and see if you can actually feel a little bit of rocking from side to side through the pelvis. All right, let's come out of that. Let's just shake the shoulders first, and let's roll them back. Trying to get a nice circular motion out of it. You're coming forward, you're coming up, you're coming back and down. When you come in the up position, don't bring it up 100%. Don't want to squeeze the back of the neck at all, but just take that into a rolling position. And now let's do the other direction. Let's get some movement going, not only through the shoulders, but the shoulder blades as well. All right, and let's bring that down and shake it out. All right, we're gonna loosen up the upper body quite a bit now. So you might want to just widen your stance to get a good base of support here. And we're just going to reach up. It's not a huge stretch. You're more just getting some range of motion through this arm and over to the other side, across the front. And again, and your hips are staying forward the whole time. And now you're reaching out toward the outside of that knee and toward the outside. Let's do that little routine again. See if we can get a bit more of a flow happening as we go through this. Remember to breathe during all of these exercises. If you find yourself holding your breath, let it go. All right, let's shake that out for a moment. We are going to do some heavy-duty window washing to get some movement through all of the torso, maybe all the way down to the lower back. So stand wide and support yourself. You've got a great big plate glass window in front of you, and you're going to hold two big sponges. And you're going to start by moving to the outer corner of that big glass and move around to the other side. Keep moving those sponges. Your hips are facing forward, so your movement starts from your lower back and hopefully is moving up through the middle of the back and the upper back. Now let's bring that circle into a smaller circle as we come to the center of our glass, and let's take it in the opposite direction, moving slowly, smaller circles, ever increasing circles. Wider. Let's go wide here. Let's go to the edges of that great big plate window. And a couple more turns and feel that nice movement through your back. All right, bring that back and just shake it out. Okay, let's just loosen up through the shoulders. I'm going to stand sideways so you can see me. Elbows back, hands pressed back. Elbows. If you'll notice, the rest of my body is not moving, except for my mouth, of course. And elbows go back and hands go back. So we're moving from the shoulders, but it feels like a little bit of a release here. Couple more times. All right, let's bring that back and shake it out. Let's just sweep the arms up and down. Couple more times. And last time, let's bring it up and down. All right, this time, working from the shoulder blades, we're going to do a move that it's not going to be a big move. You're not looking for a lot of movement, and depending on what your range of motion is for your shoulder blades, you might get even less. So you're going to start with your arms up straight. They're at about shoulder height or lower, and your palms would kind of face each other. Now you're just going to reach those fingertips forward, as if you're trying to reach the opposite wall. And now, just bring your shoulder blades together. The arm isn't moving. The arm is hitchhiking along through the shoulder blade as your shoulder blades come together. Now, reach forward, keeping those hands equidistant apart, shoulder width apart, and bring the shoulders back together. Let's do that 3 more times. Stretching forward, fingertips try to reach the opposite wall, and then just engage the shoulder blades to come together. Something we want to avoid when we do this is when the shoulder blades come together, we want to make sure the shoulders don't come up toward the ears. So keep the shoulders down. Let's do that one more time as we focus on keeping the shoulders down. Fingertips reach forward, reach back, and come out of that. All right, shake that out. Let's do a little bit more balance work this week than we did last week. We did talk about how we like to promote movement through the foot. And that's really important. It'll help us maintain our balance, as I said, avoid accidents and everything else. So you're going to stand, feet hip width apart, look down at your toes for a moment, and see if you can lift just the big toe, keeping the other toes on the floor. It may or may not work for you. This is definitely a work in progress for me. But this one's a little easier than the next one we're going to do. Bring that toe down. So now all of your toes are on the floor. And then see if you can lift all of the other toes, keeping the big toe on the floor without rolling your foot in to do that. So you want to maintain the weight of the foot. Big toes on the floor, and little toes are trying to raise up. And put those down. Just take a moment to loosen your foot, and then just spread your toes really wide on the mat. Get some distance between those toes. Put a little bit of weight on them maybe, just to keep them there, and release that. Okay, let's move into, actually, let's just do some heel raises, one leg at a time. Heel comes up and down, the other one comes up and down. When you do this, you're trying to get a little bit of a bend in the base of the big toe. I'll stand sideways so maybe you can see a bit better. You'll be limited by your history, depending on how you've used your feet, how you've maybe overused your feet over the years. You may have more limitation. This is great to do to promote movement through the foot. So when you're doing this, you're trying to get a bend, particularly in the base of the big toe, and you're trying to do it without moving your foot out sideways. If your foot is moving out sideways, it's because it's trying to avoid bending at the big toe, in which case, do keep your foot straight and just dial it back a bit on the amount of bend you're trying to do. Just a couple more times, each side. All right, and let that go. Okay, moving into some balance work. What we're going to do for this move, I'll show it to you frontwards and then sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So just watch perhaps for a moment to see so you know what to expect. First, you're going to shift the weight over to this side. And when we hold the weight on one side, we soften that knee so it's not buckled. Soften it and allow the glutes to really go strong, so ready to support you. The move is going to look like this. We're going to lift this leg up, point forward, up and back, up to the side, up and back, up and to the back position. All right? So if you want to see what that looked like again, it was up, forward, sideways, and back. All right. Move with me. We're going to do 4 times legs. So take a moment to support yourself on the one side. The knee is soft. Thumb muscles are nice and strong. Get yourself ready. Carry your weight back here so your shoulders are over your hips so that you're not leaning forward and pulling yourself out of position. Here we go. We're going to lift and point. Turn over to the side and return and lift and get that in the back position and return. 3 more times, same leg. Here we go. And side. The slower you go, the more it'll challenge your balance. And let's go forward. So this is a balance exercise, and it's also wonderful for the hip joint because we're having the femur, the large leg, bone of the leg, go in different positions in the hip joint. So we're really keeping it limber here, working the little stabilizer muscles. And as I warned you last time, I lost count. We're going to do one more time. Now to the side and to the back position, right here. Woo, come out of that. That standing leg takes it's got quite a hard job to do. So while we're working this hip joint in all of those positions, we're working on endurance on this side. So just drop one knee in the other, get a little bit of action happening through that pelvis, and then come over to the other side. The other leg is going to do the moving work. So take a moment to support yourself. The knee is soft, the bum muscles get nicely engaged, and you get ready to forward, up and back, up and to the side, up and back, up, back position. All right, 3 more times on this side. You're going to breathe. Back position. This is where you are. 2 more rounds. Do a little check. Make sure your knee is soft and your glutes are strong. Let's do one more time and let's slow it down. Here we go. Forward. Side. And back. All right, and let that go. Drop one knee and the other. And relax. All right, we're going to do a little bit more standing. Lunging is really important to help keep us strong as we age. And I think what I will do is, perhaps not next week, but the week after, I'm going to run through 10 exercises that are critical to active aging. Lunges are one of them. So we're learning to just lunge forward. Doesn't have to be really big. Take it down as far as you're comfortable, and you're keeping your weight back here. And come out of that. Let's lunge on the other leg. So when you're going forward, you're keeping your shoulders over your hips. And back. Let's just keep doing a few of these. Take it down lower if you're wanting to. For these next few, or the next one, pay attention to how your foot wants to land. Mine wants to land heel first and front first. Doesn't matter which one yours does. But this next time, make your foot land the opposite way of the way it would naturally want to. So I'm going to land the front of my foot and then my heel. And back, front of the foot, and then my heel. And back. One more time this way, the way that doesn't feel quite natural to you. And let's come out of that, give it a little bit of a shake. Equally important is lunging backwards. And the brain really doesn't like this because it's just reverse of the way we usually work, which is one of the good reasons for doing this. We do like to exercise our brains as much as our bodies during the class. But this move is also very important for walking. So I'm just going to take a step back and just lunge back here. So you see how the hip is opening up. When you're walking, you want that to happen. If you don't keep that movement through the front of the leg, you'll find yourself over the years taking smaller steps and smaller steps as you walk along. So the backward lunge is every bit as important as a front lunge to keep a nice, confident, strong walking position. So let's lunge back to position, lunge other side, back. Do a few of these. Let's just train the mind that this is an okay, natural move. Remember to keep your weight back here. In other words, your shoulders over your hips. And as much as you can, your ears over your shoulders. Let's do 2 more times each side. Last time, coming up. And here we go. And come out of that and shake it out. Okay, we are going to do a couple of spinal roll downs. So you're going to come to the back of your mat. And standing feet hip width apart. A little more if you think you're going to be needing a bit more support because your heels are going to come up here. Only as much as you can. So let's move into this gradually. Let's first lift the heels. A bit or a lot, depending on what your body will let you do. And then slowly lower the heels. Again. And down. So your heels may just barely be clearing the floor. This is definitely an exercise that gets a lot better the more you do it. All right, this next time, the arms are going to come up as well. So let's bring the arms up, heels are up, standing tall, and bring that all down. The next time, we're actually going to roll the spine down, but let's bring it all up. Heels are up, arms are up. I'm going to drop the arms and the heels as I tilt my chin in toward my chest without forcing it, and then softening the knees, slowly, slowly rolling that spine down. One vertebrae at a time, feeling the nice release through certain parts of your back. Only come as low as you're comfortable in doing. Take a deep breath in when you're down here. And slowly release that breath to help you build your spine back up, starting from the bottom, working your way up toward the middle of the back, upper back, place the shoulders in position and bring the chin back. Let's do that one more time. And this time after we get down there, we'll make our way down to the mat. So let's come on up, heels are up, arms are up. Slowly drop the arms. Drop the heels, soften the knees, tuck the chin, and go for your slow, slow roll down. Very slowly, making sure to articulate through every vertebra. Come on down and slowly make your way down to the mat. So we're going to move into some cats and cows here, which are a staple of our Physio and Pilates classes. And also one of the ones included in the group of 10 for active aging. There are just so many benefits to cats and cows. And in fact, during the day, if you find you've been at a computer too long, or you've been reading and holding the book here, or you've been sitting too long, just moving to the floor and doing 10 cats and cows can be an amazing refresher. Primarily, we work a lot around the spine with the cats and cows. And in doing so, we just liven up and awaken all the connections from the spine to the rest of the body. It can be incredibly energizing for an easy exercise. So you're going to come down on all fours, 4-point. Your hands on the floor are spread wide, so your fingers are nice and wide on the floor, and your hands are underneath your shoulders, and your hips are directly above your knees. And so you're going to take a breath in just to start. And as you release your breath, round your back up into a hissing cat shape. Maybe look gently back at your thighs. And for the last bit of rounding, you're going to maybe push your bum forward. So get a nice rounding effect here. And then drop that into kind of a slump, a very slight sway at the base of the back, not forcing a sway. And bringing your shoulder blades together. Making sure your shoulders don't squish up towards your ears when you do that. So pressing out, breath out. Dropping the center. Breathing in cow, out in cat. And just repeat your sequence. You might get a little movement through the back, the shoulder blades. You might not get very much. Whatever you are getting, it's good for you. Just don't force anything. We want to have this be a fluid movement. So maybe you're looking to get at about 75, 80% of effort. When you're in your cat, make sure you're pressing through those hands so that your shoulder blades are going wide on your back. And then the shoulder blades come together in your cow. Let's do a couple more. Back. And last one here. Now you're going to hold this cat position. And you're going to slowly move back towards your heels into what's called a shell stretch. So in the shell stretch, we're looking for the rounded back. Your hands are stretched forward just to get a nice stretch through the arms. Now you're going to walk your hands over to the right-hand side. Reaching your left fingertips maybe a little bit forward. But your body stays in the center. Your body is staying over your legs. And if you've been reaching your heels, see if you can anchor that left hip over the left heel. Walking hands to center. And then slowly walk them over to the other side. Again, your body's going to stay over here. So you're only going as far over as you can without spilling over to the side. Fingertips on that right hand, go forward a little bit. Take a deep breath in here. And walk the hands back to center. All right, let's come out of that. Let's come on to our backs. And we're going to move into an abdominal series. Core series, actually, because it's not just, as I said last week, it's not just the abdominal muscles that are working, it's also the back muscles, because we want some nice balance through those two sets of muscle groups. So you're going to come onto your back, maybe have a pillow under your head here, if that's comfortable for you. and your feet are planted. So here what you're looking for is to maintain hip width apart in your legs. So if you take a little look down, see if your knees are kind of swaying open. Bring them back. That'll mean you're using your adductor muscles, in other words, your inner thigh muscles here, just a little bit to keep them hip width apart and aligned. Also, if they're going to lean on each other, you want to open that up. Okay, moving into this, we're going to go one leg long and low, but not touching the floor, and opposite arm comes up overhead. Bring those two back and move to the other side. Leg long, opposite arm long. The hand is kind of sideways, so your thumb would be touching the floor if we're going that far. And just move from one side to the other, maintaining a really nice strong core. So you want to do a little check. See if your spine is staying in a neutral position. In other words, that it's not caving in toward the floor. Your lower back is not going in toward the floor, nor are you kind of arching up with your ribs pointing up toward the ceiling. So a nice strong core here. To get that strong core, think about pulling the belly button in towards your spine. And side to side. Remember to breathe. Sometimes it can help in this kind of move to breathe out with going long. It'll help you engage those ab muscles. In with the return. Out. Let's go for a little bit more endurance here today. Let's do 3 more on each side. Continuing to think about pulling that belly button toward the spine. Nice slow moves, both going down and coming up. Really engaging the muscles so that they work a little bit longer to do this. Last time, coming up, really engaging those abdominal muscles to keep you strong, keep your back from moving out of position. And this last one. And then bring your knees in towards your chest to relax. You can roll around a bit if that feels good for your lower back. And let's move to a different position. So we're going to plant the feet. Hands can be on the floor, and the palms would be facing the ceiling. So we want a really nice open chest as we move into this. So you're going to bring one leg up to what we call tabletop. Tabletop means you've got 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee. And bring that down. Other one comes up to 90 and down. You can keep on with this move, or if you're wanting to progress, here's what it looks like. But pay attention to your body as you do this, please. So you're coming up to tabletop with one leg, and then the second one is going to join it. So right away, you can feel how much more demand that is as it recruits all of your abdominal and your core muscles. And then the first leg comes down, and the second leg comes down. So this is one of the more, it progresses the exercise, one more step. So pay attention to your lower back. It's kind of tugging at you. You'd want to go back to the first motion where you're just bringing up one leg and bringing that same leg back. Keep doing this. Another way to advance this exercise is to take your arms from the floor and drift them up toward the ceiling. Your shoulders would still be on the floor, and then you're bringing up one leg and the other. So you haven't got that little bit of support on the floor with your arms. Again, working on a bit more endurance today. We're going to do this a few more times. If you find this is a little much and you're doing this version, dial it back to the other one because you can always come back to this when you're ready. Let's do 4 more. But it's always a slow up and a slow return. 2 more. And last one. And bring those knees in and roll. All right. Let's plant those feet. Let's work a little bit more on our core. We're going to start with the ab prep that we did last week, and then we're going to ramp it up a little bit for those who want to. So your hands come behind your head. And what we'll be doing is trying to support the weight of the head and the hands. And so when we go up into our ab prep, which looks like this, breath in, tuck the chin a little bit, come on up, and back. When you're going up, you're releasing that breath you took in. So breath in, tuck chin, back. So when we're doing this, we're trying to support the weight of the head and the hands, and we're not leading with the neck. We're not tugging on that neck. We really have to give a break to the neck. And when you come up, you're really thinking about leading from the sternum here, from the chest, and back. So let's do a few of these. You might get your shoulders off the floor, and you might not. Just determine what your point is and do it well. Far better to get better form and less distance on any of these exercises. Let's do this again. So if you want to keep doing this, you keep on doing it this way. If you want to ramp it up a bit, you can bring your knee in towards your chest as you come up and aim your shoulder toward that knee and come down. Knee comes up as you move up and then move over as the shoulder goes towards the knee and back. So they're all separate moves in a way. So the leg comes up and the body comes up. Then the shoulder will go toward that knee, come out of it, and come back. Here we go. Up and over, back and down. Up, over, back, and down. And when you're doing this, if you're doing this advanced move, you're trying to keep your leg at that tabletop position that we did a while ago. So it's not coming toward the chest. It's actually keeping at that position that'll work the abs a little bit more. So whichever move you're doing, we're going to do 1 more each side. And this time, let's stretch that long. Let's get a nice long stretch out of that. All right. To open up the fronts of our hips and also to build our glute muscles a little bit more, we're going to do some bridging. We're going to do 2 different kinds. So when we do bridges, we want to move the pillow away from our heads first off and just have your head rest on the floor. And you might want to bring your heels a little bit closer to your bum. You decide if that's comfortable for you as we start into it. So first, just to release our lower back a little bit, you're going to roll your lower back toward the floor, not pressing too hard, just rolling the lower back toward the floor and releasing back to a neutral spine. And roll back and release. This should feel good. It should be a nice release for the lower back, a little bit of a massage feel maybe to it. Let's do that a couple more times. Okay, this next time, you're going to keep rolling until you find yourself in a bridge position. So it looks like this. You're going to roll your lower back in. You're slowly going to roll up into your bridge position. So with your bridge, you'll be wanting to have the feeling of your knees going long, and your lower rib is going to kind of curl, have the sensation of curling under or trying to get closer to the hip bone. And the shoulders are really nicely supported on the floor here. We're not going up in a way that stresses the neck at all. And now roll that back in the opposite direction to get down to the floor. Trying to pay attention to all that different parts of your spine as you do this. Now let's roll into it again, rolling up, pressing through the heels as you get up there. Nice strong glutes. And roll down. 2 more times this way, rolling up. And down. And last time. And roll it down. Maybe bring your knees into your chest, relax for a moment. If it's not comfortable for you to bring up both knees at one time, bring up one. What we're trying to do here is to release that lower back, because it's been working a little bit as we've been doing these things. And maybe bring the other one up if you're doing them one at a time. And bring that back. Okay, the next set of bridges, we're going to, so you'll have your hands on the floor, palms up. And you're going to come straight up into your bridge. Then you're going to hold it for a beat. You're going to drop it and just barely touch your bum to the floor, and then engage the muscles to come right back up again. Come down, barely touching, come on up again. This will fire the glute muscles a little bit more. Also, it'll engage the pelvic floor, which is something we concentrate on a fair amount in Physio Pilates. And down. And as you're doing this, one more thing to think about, have your legs started to open up toward the side. You want to keep that hip width distance between the legs, and if they're starting to move out to the side, bring them back together. And let's do that 3 more times. Glutes are nice and strong. We're remembering not to pop that lower rib up toward the sky. In other words, we're kind of tucking it down, knitting it down. I'm breathing out as I'm going up because that's my real effort. And come out of that. And shake it out for a moment. Let's bring the feet wide on the mat. So your feet might be as wide as the mat itself. And we're just going to drop one knee over to one side and then the other. So what we're doing with this exercise, it does release around the hips here a little bit, but it also provides some nice movement in the base of the spine. So keep going from one side to the other. Some people also call this windshield wipers. All right, let's bring that back. We're going to move over onto our sides. So you might want to bring your pillow back into action here. So you're going to roll over on your side, cushion your head. Your knees are bent. Yeah, they're maybe at not quite a 90 degree, maybe halfway between 45 and 90 degrees. And we're going to work the upper part of our spine now and just get some nice spinal release in that. So you're lying on your side, your arm comes forward, and then you're going to lift your hand toward the ceiling as your eyes maybe follow your hand, and then drop it somewhere behind you. And bring that back. Again, we're not forcing anything. We're trying to go within what our limits allow. And open up. And back. We're going to do this quite a few more times. And you'll notice you'll start to release a little bit and get a little bit more range the more these do. So our hips might roll a little bit as we do this. That's okay. We don't want to flop right back like this. There's no advantage to that because we're trying to get the range happening through the back and the spine. Might try to get your breathing to work for you in whatever way. Sometimes it can work to take it in. Go part way up, release it as you go the rest of the way back. Maybe take a breath in, halfway, and back. Let's do 3 more. Trust me, for all of us who have been doing more sitting or more computer work than we're used to, this is going to feel great. 2 more. And last one coming. Do most of these slowly. Enjoy the moment. And bring that back. Let's roll over to the other side. And let's do the spinal twist, spinal rotation. Sorry, I don't like the word twist. That implies pain. Spinal rotation on this side. Cushion your head, bend your knees a little bit, arm comes forward. Then when you're ready, lift that arm up and back. And bringing it back. One thing you're going to notice right away, for most of us, there's a really big difference in what you can do on one side versus the other. We do not use our bodies symmetrically. So you'll have overuse on one side that'll provide some limitations. And you'll have a little more freedom on the other side. Don't worry about it, it's just the way we're built. So let's do some more of these and just appreciate opening up and coming back. 3 more. Nice and slowly. Remember to get your breathing working for you in whatever way that works for you, but do breathe. And last time, coming up now, here we go. And bring that back. All right, we are going to do just a little bit of hip work on this side. Since we're here, let's bring our leg out long and bring it back just a notch. And from this position, you're going to do nice controlled small circles. Small controlled circles, all of the movement coming from the hip joint. And as you do this, you're going to pay attention to the bottom of your circle, because sometimes we forget the bottom of the circle. It's not always as easy to do. Let's take that circle in the opposite direction. Small, controlled move. You're pulling your abs in here a little tiny bit. In other words, that belly button toward the spine to keep your core nice and strong so that we can isolate the move coming from the hip joint. Let's do 2 more. And last one, and just bring that down and relax that for a moment. All right, let's bring both those legs back. We're going to this time lift the top leg still in its bent position. So it's going to be parallel to the other, but it's going to be lifted. And from this position, do your circles. So do some nice circles, keeping the knee bent, keeping it in the same position it was in, but moving from the hip to do some circles. Maybe your circles are a little bit wider from this position. And now let's reverse the direction of that circle. Let's go the other way. It might have felt easier going one direction than the other. Don't worry about it. Maybe think about the shape of your circle is like. Some people find themselves drawing more like a potato than a circle. Last one. And bring it back. Maybe relax that hip a little bit. Slide that one knee over the other one to get some nice release through the hips. All right, bring those two knees back together to that starting point. You're going to lift that top leg again. This time, at this height, you're going to bring the knee up towards your chest and then lengthen the leg and sweep it back a little bit. And then bend it up toward the chest, lengthen, and go back. You're only going as far back as you can without arching your back. So you're keeping your core in that nice, strong position as the leg comes up and goes back. Pulling that belly button toward the spine. That's kind of the required position for most of these moves. Let's do two more. If you're starting to feel it in that leg, there's a reason. We've been working it hard. And bring that back and bring the leg down and relax it for a moment. Maybe give it a much deserved massage. All right, let's roll that over to the other side and do the same moves with the other leg. So take a moment to adjust yourself so you're coming over onto your side, always cushioning your head here. The knees are bent. And we're lifting that top leg long, bringing the heel back a little bit so that the leg doesn't drift forward. So we're bringing it back here. You can relax the foot. It's not helpful to keep it tense. And then move into your small controlled circles. And remember the lower part of your circle. Remember the back part of your circle back here. So it's small and controlled. The abs are always tucked in a little bit to help you control the rest of your body and also to control that move. Take it in the other direction. A few more little controlled circles. And bring it down and relax. All right, let's bring those two knees back to their starting position here and then lift the top leg here and move circles from this position. Keeping that knee bent, keeping it in the same position it was in when it was lying down. And take it in the other direction. Sometimes the brain has to work harder here. Two more. And bring that down and relax it. All right, let's do our final one in our hip series here. Going to start from the starting position. The leg comes up, and this time the knee comes toward your chest, and then leg goes up long and goes behind. And here we go, back, leg long and behind, slow moves, nice controlled abdominals here. The rest of your body is trying not to jiggle. Trying to really do a controlled move from the hip, the knees working a little bit. And let's do one more after this. And come back and relax and give it a rub. Rubbing actually helps with circulation, getting a lot of blood moving around those muscles that have just worked hard. All right, let's move into a little bit of stretching. Since we're in this position, what we're going to do is you can move your towel away or your cushion away. And you're still lying sideways, and your body's going to go long now. So your legs are long and straight, and your arm is straight under your head. You're going to take that top foot and just drop it behind the bottom foot. So maybe now you're getting a nice little stretch through the hip zone, and then bring the second arm up to join the first one. So you've got a nice long stretch here. Hold that. It should feel quite good. If it doesn't, adjust yourself so that you're relieving any real discomfort. Let's release that. Let's go onto our backs. We work the glutes quite a bit doing a lot of exercises, but in particular the bridges would have drawn on them. So you're going to take one ankle, put it over the other knee into the number 4 or pretzel. If this is enough stretch for you, just hold this. If you're wanting more stretch, you can always lift that lower leg and get more stretch through the bum on this side. Play with that angle a little bit and see if you can maybe get a little bit of stretch that works better for you. When you've got your ideal stretch, whichever one it is, hold it. And let's keep holding. And let's release that. Let's take it to the other side. So the other ankle comes over that knee. And again, choose your position. Wanting more, you can lift the lower leg. You're trying to make sure the knee's not folding in toward the chest. So whichever position you're in, maybe press your knee a little bit further away from you to open up a little bit through the hip joint. Not a lot, but it should be not folding in. One holding here. And release that. Now we're going to stretch out the other side like we did just before these stretches. I have to move around so you can see me, but you can probably stay in position and just roll the other way. Oops, I don't need that. Okay, so for this one, the body was long. Legs are long, the arm under the head is long. And then the foot, top foot, just slips behind the other one to touch the floor. And the second arm joins the first one for a nice long stretch. Breathing through this. And release that. Let's just, on our way up to standing, let's stop at tabletop or 4-point. Let's just stop here. We'll come back to where we were doing our cats and cows. In fact, let's do just a couple of cats and cows. Let's move up into that cat, down into the cow. Couple more. All right, just come to your neutral position in your back. And we're going to do a little tail wag here. So again, a little bit more for the spine and the pelvic area. So you're just going to pretend you've got a tail on the back of that thing and just move from one side to the other a little bit. Nice smooth moves. You don't want to jar anything in the base of the spine. You just go from one side to the other like a happy puppy dog. And you should get quite a bit of nice release from that. I'm hoping anyway. One more time each side. And come out of that. Let's slowly make our way to standing. So standing up on your mat. Let's just release one leg and the other. Let's get a little bit of relaxation through the upper back. So you're going to put your hands into prayer position with your eyes at about wrist height. And so at first, your elbows are going to be far apart. Now take those elbows and just press them together. Hold it. You should feel a really nice stretch across the base of your neck and upper back. And release that. Let's do that again. Pressing the elbows together and releasing. This time you're going to press the elbows together and then you're going to separate your hands. A little bit here. Never do it to the point of pain. If you're feeling pain, please release this. Bring this back and let's come out of it and shake that out. Roll your shoulders. And drop your chin to your chest. Look over the right shoulder. Move it to the left shoulder. And come back to center and relax. And we're going to finish our class with our really deep breaths. So 3 deep breaths. You might want to brace yourself for this as you scoop down and fill your lungs as much as you can and press it out. 2 more. Here we go. Really deep breaths. And the last one. And we're done today's class. Thanks very much for those of you who joined us. And remember, next week, if you've got a ball that you can use, I'll just show you a few little tricks with that to make the exercises a little more challenging, but also to do a little bit of body release using it. That's it for today.